Is there a better sport than baseball? Seriously. Last night's a nightmare. Tonight's a dream. For Cristopher Sánchez and the Phillies, Ben Davis, Michael Barkamp, Phillies Post-Game Live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. 2-0 Phillies. We know that. 1-0 in the second half. But, Benny, here's the thing. Since Cristopher Sánchez signed his contract extension 1 week ago tomorrow, and then 1 week ago coming up on Sunday, pitched shutout innings, he now has 16 shutout innings since he signed that extension. Your thoughts on what we saw tonight from the entire team led by Sánchez on the mound?
He was masterful. Absolutely masterful was Cristopher Sánchez tonight. 45% changeups. 45%. And that tells you something, that how good a feel he had for that. 11 groundouts. That is typical Cristopher Sánchez. Just 2 fly ball outs and to go along with the 9 punch outs. He was on top of his game tonight. His fastball command glove side was impeccable, and that really just set up the outside part of the plate with his changeup. The slider's been better. 17% sliders tonight. He was just flat out awesome.
He was. And to hear John Kruk say that he was proud of Cristopher Sánchez, I mean, my goodness, that's saying something. Let's go to John right now. John, the sincerity was evident in your voice. It was heartfelt. What about his performance? What about the way he has stepped up in his past 2 starts in particular has impressed you so much?
Well, everything, Michael. You know, when we talked to him after the game, and I mentioned, my feelings towards Cristopher. And my feelings are, he deserves everything he's getting, because every year it seems like, who are we going to get? Where's Sánchez? Is he going to be okay? Are we going to be able to count on him? Well, you know what? Yeah, you can count on him, because he's one of the best going right now. And, so happy that he got the contract, and just so happy that, when you watch these guys here at the ballpark, and you watch how hard these pitchers work and how they compete against each other in a good way, watching each other's bullpens. And Christopher even mentioned that, watching those guys' bullpens, it helps him when it comes his turn to pitch. But, first of all, I love guys like Cristopher Sánchez that basically has had to work for everything he's gotten in this game, and the Phillies rewarded him, but it's not more of a reward than he deserved it. Mm-hmm. And that's bigger than getting rewarded for it.
Johnny, getting to the big leagues, I had a couple guys that I really looked up to. Obviously, Tony Gwynn, Andy Ashby, Ken Caminiti, guys that have been in the game for a long time. And they kind of took me underneath their wing and said, hey, this is how we do things at the major league level. And Cristopher Sánchez talks at length about what Zach Wheeler means to him and some of the other veteran pitchers on this team. How important is that to have those guys on the team that you can look up to and kind of teach you a lot about the big league baseball?
Well, Ben, it's huge. And I say this all the time, that if Caleb Cotham can tell something to Cristopher Sánchez, and Cristopher will listen and try to apply it, Zach Wheeler can tell him the same thing, but it just seems different when it comes from a veteran player like Zach Wheeler, who has done amazing things in this game already, to have that communication. And I think it also helps him because, he and Ranger are very similar pitchers. And I love the fact now that they're split up, because it was Wheeler, Nola, Ranger, Cristopher. And, when you're a hitter, a right-handed hitter, left-handed hitter, whatever, and you see Ranger one game and then the next game you see Cristopher, who they're very similar stuff-wise, I think that was not – and look, they both pitch great, don't get me wrong, but, as a hitter, I think I would be, okay, I see what Ranger threw. Now I know what Cristopher Sánchez is going to give me. But now that they're split up and they can actually watch and enjoy each other pitch, it's something to watch. We talk about the offense maybe taking some lumps because Bryce and Kyle are out and JT's still out. But, hey, the pitching can carry him. And right now, after one day of those guys on the injured list, Cristopher Sánchez said, I'll handle this, boys.
Yeah, he sure did. 1-0 in that situation. 1-0 to start the second half of the season. And John, when he signed his contract extension 1 week ago tomorrow, he mentioned, as you just did, Zach Wheeler and the privilege of being around him for 4 more years. And when you look at this rotation, all of a sudden it seems as if he has elevated himself to that stature. And you're looking at Wheeler, you're looking at Ranger, you're looking at Sanchez. They're 1, 2, and 3 in ERA in the National League. Then you're looking at Aaron Nola. He can't pitch. That's 4. I mean, it's really incredible, isn't it?
Well, I think the most amazing thing is, like, you can look at pretty much every team and say, okay, just look at their numbers and say, okay, he's their number 1, he's their number 2, he's probably their number 3, he's probably their number 4. We ain't got that. We got 4 number 1s, really. And to me, you go into a series and you say, okay, we're going to get their number 1, but then we're getting their number 5, or we're getting their number 4, number 5, and number 1. So you're thinking to yourself, all right, we got 2 games at least where we should do some damage and then try to work our way through the number 1 guy. Phillies, teams that play the Phillies don't have that luxury because they got 4 dang number 1s and they are pitching their asses off.
Johnny, look at Bryson's stat tonight. No hits, but he had both the team's RBIs. You seen some things out of him that makes you believe that he's starting to turn the corner a little bit?
Yeah, I like the fact that the sacrifice fly he had in, I guess it was the 8th inning. He had 2 strikes. He fouled some balls off, but I say this: it's easier for a left-hand hitter to hit a fly ball to left field than it is a fly ball to right field, even if you're a pull hitter, because if you're staying on the ball trying to hit it the other way, you have a better chance of hitting it in the air that way. If you try to pull it, you can roll over, be a little quick with your top hand, and you hit a grounder. Bryson just went that way. Ben, I think it's going to help him if he continues to bat leadoff. I just think Bryson's one of those guys that I think it'll get him going because the more important spot you put him in, and now knowing that, we don't have Kyle, we don't have Bryce, we don't have JT, these guys have to pick it up, and Bryson's the guy that I think has that ability to pick it up from the leadoff spot and do some great things, to score some runs and then drive-in runs after Rojas. Unbelievable at bat by Rojas. And,
incredible.
Oh, God, those legs. Ben, how would we have done if we could run like that?
Oh, my goodness.
I may have hit 250.
We'd have pulled something hard. I know that.
How about this? Last question. Does the name Curtis Mead mean anything to you, John? It didn't
Nope.
to me. Yeah, nope. Guess what? Curtis Mead traded by Matt Klentak November of 2019 to the Tampa Bay Rays for Cristopher Sanchez.
Wow.
Got to give credit where credit is due.
I'd say we got the best of that deal.
I'd say so. Curtis Mead.
How about this, though? The Miami Marlins now are 4-26 against left-handed starters this year.
Wow.
So I guess
That's
Rangers
hard
going
to
tomorrow.
do.
That is hard to do.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think if I'm Ranger, I'm saying, hey, let's skip
Let's
Nola
go.
and I'll go out there.
Yeah, I'll throw a righty. All right, buddy.
Go beat that
Thanks.
fireworks traffic, Johnny.
You got
Thanks,
it.
John.
Thanks, John.
John Kruk will check you
All right.
tomorrow, joining us from the booth, calling tonight's game with Tom McCarthy. This was a fun one tonight because we were on eggshells, not knowing. Sure, you knew that Cristopher Sanchez was going to come to pitch. The lineup's a different story because of the injuries. Remember, JT Realmuto's still out. Then you add Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber to that, and you are decimated, really, in your lineup department. It was a funky-looking lineup with Stott leading off, but not too bad. But the story really is Cristopher Sanchez, 9 shutout innings.
And I'm sure if you ask Garrett Stubbs, a pleasure to catch it tonight.
9 innings pitched, complete game shutout, 3 hits allowed, not an earned run to be found, not a run to be found, 9 strikeouts, no walks. How about the no walks, too? First career complete game shutout for Cristopher Sanchez. And we update the National League ERA leaders, and they're all with a Phillies P by their names. Ranger Suarez at 1.83. By the way, remember that play with Trey Turner, the middle game of the Detroit series on Tuesday, which cost Ranger Suarez a couple of runs. It was an error that at the time was not recorded against Turner. They changed that, and so his ERA dips below 2 once again. Cristopher Sanchez, a lofty 2.41, Ben, with Zach Wheeler at 2.73, and Gavin Stone, Chris Sale, and Sonny Gray. That's virtually unheard of to have 1, 2, 3 like that. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but when you think of 3 names like that, that's Glavine, Smoltz, and
Maddox.
Yeah, I mean, that's unbelievable.
It is fun to watch, and obviously you go into a series. I remember when I was with Seattle, playing the A's all the time, and if you got Mulder, Zito, and Hudson on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're like, man, if I could just eke out maybe 2 hits out of this series, I think I'd be happy with that. And that's the way I look at this three-headed monster, if you will, with those guys, with the ERA leaders, and obviously Aaron Nola too. It should be in there too, with how good of stuff he has and how every 5th day they can rely on him. But they just fill up the strike zone. Strike one all day long. That's what these guys are able to do. They're immediately putting the hitter on the defensive. And from an offensive standpoint, it's frustrating knowing you're going to go up there. And it's not like they're just grooving a strike. I mean, they're hitting corners. They're hitting a gnat's butt from 60 feet, 6 inches away. And that is something that I think they really do feed off each other. And they talk to each other all the time. They go watch each other's bullpens. And when you're watching a bullpen, you understand what makes other guys click. And you can incorporate that into your game. That's only going to make you a lot better, especially when you have that kind of arms that the Phillies have. You're starting to realize that, hey, I don't have to miss bats to get outs. And I think that's what this whole pitching staff as a unit really has figured out.
As good as he was prior to the contract extension, do you think in his own mind that validated him and was freeing in no small way and really let him fling it even more?
I think so. I think this is a contract. Again, I talked about it in the pregame show. You can go one of 2 ways after signing a contract. You can say, oh, I have to show everybody just how great I am. You start to grip that ball a little tighter, and then you start to get hit around. Or you can say, okay, all that hard work has paid off. I'm financially set for the rest of my life. I know I'm going to be in Philadelphia. Maybe I can go buy a house here now and not have to worry about all the minor things and just worry about pitching. And that's what he has done in the last 2 outings. Obviously, 16 innings of scoreless baseball. I think he's taken the latter route and just say, you know what? I am financially secure. I can just go out and pitch, and I know that I'm going to be okay. And I think he's taken that and used it to his advantage. And that doesn't mean everyone always talks about in that clubhouse about how hard Cristopher Sánchez works. He's not going to slack off in that regard. But, putting your mind at ease a little bit more makes it that much more tolerable.
To his manager right now in the clubhouse, Rob Thomson, on this win.
Is there any debate in your mind about sending him back out there for the 9th?
Yeah, we were thinking about it. He's never pitched in the 9th inning before. So once we added the extra run, then it was kind of a no-brainer for me. I had to give him the opportunity. His pitch count was in real good shape. So.
What was it like watching him tonight?
I'm so proud of this kid because he's come so far. And now he's a dominant pitcher, really, in Major League Baseball. And when you saw him a couple of years ago, I didn't think he'd be able to do it. But he's worked hard. He's trusted his coaches in the minor leagues and his coaches here, and it's phenomenal, really is.
All these things you're saying are about a guy who on paper was your number 4 starter coming into the year. What does that say about your rotation as a whole right now?
Well, obviously it's really strong. I mean, they're putting up huge numbers. But, he'd be a 1 on a lot of teams.
On a day where you get some rough injury news, just how key is it that he goes out there and does what he does tonight?
Yeah. 22 of 29 first pitch strikes, 11 ground ball outs, 9 punch outs, 9 innings, saves the bullpen for another day. Played really good defense, and that's what we're going to have to do maybe on certain nights now for a while. And we push across 2 runs. Rojas with a big hustle double, good dirt ball read, sac fly. So we got to sometimes I think for the near future anyway, we may have to create some stuff.
Do you see him as a renewed confidence in Rojas, taking some chances there, using his speed?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I told him when he came in, I said just play like you did in AAA. That's it. Be aggressive but under control. And he did it.
Is that an example of what you said recently, that you're the best version of yourself with him on the team? Is that 8th inning when he scored that run?
Yeah, if he can. I mean, he's not going to do that every night, but there are times when he can move a runner by bunting, steal a base, steal third base, get an infield hit, and create stuff. That's all we need.
What do you see as the biggest area of growth for Sanchez over the past few years?
Command of the baseball, really, and the development of the changeup. I mean, there's so many things with him, really, and mentally and emotionally, he has grown up before our eyes, and he's just really, I'm really proud of him. I really am.
I can't remember any other ball being hit hard.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Mm-hmm. It's just amazing. I mean, it is very frustrating as a hitter. Say you recognize a certain pitch and you see that pitch coming in and you're thinking to yourself, I'm on it. I'm on this pitch. And then you go, and then all of a sudden it just moves a little bit and you're like, oh. And then you're rolling the ball over and, running down the first base and making a right turn. It's very frustrating to have that happen. And that's what happened over and over and over tonight.
You know what? I would just like to have that opportunity one time to go, ow, and make
so did Moonlight Graham.
Yeah, so did Moonlight Graham. He did
Moonlight
it once.
Graham.
Got to be getting home. All right, let's hear from Cristopher Sánchez one more time with translator Diego Daniello.
You seemed very emotional tonight at times when the innings were ended. Was there any added emotion tonight? Why was he so fired up?
¿Te veías muy emocionado y cuando la inning se acababa? ¿Había alguna emoción adicional en el juego? ¿Qué te tenía así tan como activo?
No, jugué con varios de dominicanos del otro equipo y siempre cuando estamos jugando en contra nos reímos y hablamos.
No, I just played against some players from the Dominican, and we were always that we're playing together. We're just having laughs and having fun on the field.
Why were you able to be so efficient tonight?
¿Qué te hizo ser tan eficiente el día de hoy?
Salí a competir, atacar temprano a los bateadores. Creo que eso fue la clave del éxito esta noche.
Go out and compete and attacking the hitters early. I think those were the keys to today's success.
So what did it feel like to get that last out in the ninth inning and finish off the shutout?
¿Qué se sintió sacar ese último en el noveno inning y terminar con la blanqueada?
Es increíble. Es mi primer juego completo. Es algo increíble. Le di gracias a Toby, a Tradejón, a la defensa que estuvo también increíble. Son un equipo.
It was incredible. This is my first complete game as well, and it's an incredible feeling. It's amazing. I thank Stubby as well for his work behind the plate, and not only that, his defense as well. And we're a team.
You've had a string of really strong outings lately, particularly after signing the extension. Do you think that has rejuvenated you at all, or lit something new? Or?
Tú has tenido muchas actuaciones buenas recientemente, particularmente después de que anunciaron la noticia de que tú ibas a permanecer en el equipo un par de años más. ¿Crees que eso te ha ayudado a demostrar un poquito más?
No. Solo salgo ahí a dar lo mejor de mí siempre, enfocado y a competir como siempre lo he hecho.
No, I just go out and give the best of myself, always focused, and just go out and do the work as always.
What did Tom say to you before the ninth inning there?
¿Qué te dijo Thomson antes del noveno inning?
No, me abrazó, me felicitó. Solo eso.
He just hugged me and congratulated me for the outing.
A lot of people are amazed at your transformation. What do you think of it?
Mucha gente se ha sorprendido por tu cambio, por tu transformación como lanzador. ¿Qué piensas tú sobre eso?
Que nada en la vida es imposible, que cuando tú quieres lograr algo se puede. Tienes que trabajar duro y enfocarte.
That nothing's impossible. If you want to do something, you can do it. You just have to focus and work really hard towards it.
Did you keep the ball the last out? What are you going to do with it?
¿Te quedaste con la pelota del último out?
Sí, claro, ya.
Yeah, of course I did.
Huh?
What are you going to do with it?
¿Qué tú vas a hacer con esa pelota?
Guardarla.
Keep it.
How did it feel on a day where the team got some rough injury news to come out and do what you did tonight?
¿Qué se sintió en un día en el que el equipo anunció varias malas noticias con jugadores lastimados y tú puedes salir y bueno, lanzar de esa manera?
Siempre lo he dicho, somos un buen equipo, pero esas dos bajas son parte fundamental de este equipo. Tratamos de tú sabes, llenar un poquito, pero eso no lo llena nadie.
I've always said it, we're a great team, but it's not a surprise that those two players going to the injured list are two sensitive players for us, but you try to fill in as much as you can, but these guys, they're just irreplaceable.
You start to think about maybe getting picked for the All-Star game?
¿Tú has pensado en tal vez seleccionar al juego de estrella?
No lo he pensado, pero esas son una de mis metas este año.
I haven't thought about it yet, but that's definitely a goal for me this year.
What about renegotiating your contract?
Thank you, guys.
At the end, he was asked, "Are you thinking of renegotiating your contract?" And Diego Donatiello, his translator, passed it along. He broke out into a big smile and a giggle. And if I'm Dave Dombrowski and Sam Fold, I'm thinking about it. Maybe you might want to re-extend him one more time. What the heck? It might mean a Cy Young.
For 8 years instead of 4?
That's right.